Another type of position involves a so-called baseball grip. A lot of times people grab like this. In this type of a situation, we're going to grab cross wrist, kind of like this. And what I'm doing here is I'm pushing my weight, my forearm, over the very uppermost part, almost into the crook of Colby's elbow. And I'm also making sure from here that I keep my weight into him here. Now, I'm not going to go over a lot of technique in this position. I frankly am not successful with a tremendous amount of technique in this position, although there's one portion of this position I found quite useful. And that is, you'll notice where my elbow is here. At this point, I'm in good position simply in terms of being able to prevent Colby from attacking me very easily, because I have great control over this wrist. I have two hands on one wrist. I've also got weight down, not with my body, with my whole body, not with my upper body, but with my whole body. I've got my weight down. My head position is such that it makes it difficult for him to attack. So as Colby is pushing into me and trying to manipulate me, I have good position here as I'm pushing in and sagging on him. Also, too, this is a very fatiguing position for him. Again, he's having to hold up my weight. For me to attack now, aside from trying to shuck him down or something like that, if I can get my elbow to the inside as we're moving around to here, at that point, you'll see I'm already cleared here. Notice this space. Colby, put your elbow in. It's very difficult, and it's not hard for me from this position to come through to attack a high crotch. Again, I'm not so sure that this is a tremendously common position that you'd find in mixed martial arts, but more grappling kind of arts. This is something I think a concept or a position that's worthwhile to practice. I've got this baseball grip here. I'm sagging in. Colby's kind of pushing in. From here, when I can, I slide my elbow in. Once I get my elbow into this position, even though my angle doesn't look that favorable, you can see as I rotate, I've got a big hole here to attack. So, as I approach Colby, I grab, I get this position, I'm pushing in. From here, I've got other things I can be thinking about as far as head snaps and making it difficult for him. As I get the space or the opportunity, I want to get my elbow inside. And then as I do that, even though my angle looks fairly unfavorable here, a simple rotation will get me through because there's a tremendous hole here right now. So from this position, my elbow is just going to go back. I come into the high crotch position, secure the leg, transfer the weight, and drive through. I get this position, grab. I'm working on Colby here. Might be snapping down, might be working drags. When I finally line this up and have gotten this for a little bit and fatiguing Colby, when I find my opportunity, I get inside here, controlling the head, and I'm going to rotate. So, I get the position, I'm pushing in here. I might be trying to snap down again. I'm always going to be very active. Once I'm in here for a bit, I've got my position. I'm trying to fatigue Colby. I'm going to get my elbow on the inside. As I do that, even though right now my angle looks fairly unfavorable for attacking this leg, because there's such a big hole here, and because I've got a lot of power with my elbow, it's easy to get through. So that's a position I think that has some usefulness in getting familiar with for that very reason, because it's deceptive. Once I've got that elbow in, I'm basically through, although my opponent typically doesn't feel that unsafe. And so I think that's a very good position to get familiar with because it's very deceptive in that regard. Now you'll notice while I was doing those high crotches that when I was rotating, my front knee was coming down. So I can come in this way, attack, step. In other words, my rear foot catches up to get good push power here as I change the angle. Alternatively, some people prefer to go directly with this this other foot forward. So if this foot is forward, more like my traditional outside single leg that's forward, because again, my preference, for example, is to lead my left leg, so I'm typically going to attack a double against my opponent with my head to the left side of his body, and that's the same thing with the outside single. If I choose to have this leg forward, my right leg forward, I can do the same thing to the opposite side of the body, but I can also attack, again, Kobe's left side. And the notion is, when I'm in here, instead of leading the foot that I prefer to lead typically and coming through, I can lead the other foot and do the same type of motion. Now, the advantage of this is I'm in very quick to cut the angle because my foot is already there. The disadvantage, I think, is it's not quite as powerful of a move because you can't rotate by stepping forward first. There's a limited amount that I can rotate to get my partner's body over me. So I think that's the compromise. It's a quicker type of a technique. It's more of a duck under almost type technique because I cannot rotate my partner's body, or I cannot rotate my own body as much. If I come inside here, I can rotate pretty good from this direction with a more traditional type of high crotch, whereas if I'm leading the other foot, even though I am rotating still and I'm trying to throw my partner's weight over my body, you'll see I don't have as much rotation. On the other hand, this foot is right there, which allows for greater speed in terms of making that transition to a double. So again, there's some advantages or pluses and minuses, advantages and disadvantages to one leg forward versus the other leg forward, and good wrestlers do both. It's important, I think, to become familiar with both.